Hey everybody, I'm Dave Karger at the IMDb studio in Toronto, presented by Intuit QuickBooks. Very happy to be joined by the crew from the movie I Am Woman. So from the cast, Tilda cobham-hervey, and Evan Peters, and Danielle Macdonald, and the director, Unjoo. Welcome to all of you. So great to see you. I'm around a lot of Aussies right now. Not you though, Evan.
Evan's an honorary Australian.
Okay, I appreciate
He
that.
has a good Australian accent. You should
Okay,
hear
yes.
it.
Heaps.
And he
And your film is about an Australian icon, Helen Reddy, who you play, Tilda. You must have done so much research to prepare for this. I'm curious to know, what did you find most helpful? Was it things that you read? Was it conversations you had with people? Or was it videos that you watched? What was the key for you?
That's a very hard question. It was really an amalgamation of all of it. I did everything. I read everything, I watched everything. I mean, studying the videos was, I think, that was really important to me, because she has some beautiful interviews, and obviously her performances are so great to watch. She's such an incredible storyteller when she sings. So I think a lot of that really informed the way I moved and talked. And she is such an authentic person and artist, so a lot of her really comes across in those moments. But yeah, it was really a combination of all things.
In the first few minutes of the movie, Unjoo, we learn that there are themes of sexual harassment, equal pay, even being an illegal alien, to use the air quotes. You know, these are issues that Helen dealt with in her career, and you have them front and center from the very beginning of the movie. Was that something that was interesting to you to explore, even though it's a period film, these kind of contemporary issues?
Well, that's all actually what happened to Helen. So it wasn't like we had chosen them as issues. This is a story of one woman's struggle and one woman's journey, and the way she finds her independence and her voice as an artist. And they actually happened to her, and I think that that's why people resonate with the story, and it becomes very contemporary, because they're the kind of struggles that women still face and still have to deal with.
Yeah. Danielle, you've played so many great roles in the last few years, many of which are American women. And we finally get to hear you use your Aussie accent.
This is honestly the first Australian film I've ever done, and my first time ever playing an Australian. Weird. I know.
Did it feel strange?
Yes, it did. And she kept telling me, sound more Australian. It's like, I actually had to work on my accent, which is embarrassing.
That is wild. Evan, your character, Jeff, who is Helen's manager and husband, a fascinating man, a lot of energy for good and ill, I think in some ways. He was essentially addicted to cocaine. He was very prideful. What was it like for you to be in that kind of headspace during the shoot?
Fun? No, it was strange. I mean, he is crazy. I mean, he is like a very eccentric, like out there guy. But I think at the heart of it all, he is a good guy who sort of just fell down a rabbit hole. Yeah, I don't know. He's a very confident man. He's a very loud man, a very crass man sometimes. So it was a little, I guess, liberating to be that way sometimes, but it was also pretty terrifying. So it was interesting. I learned a lot about myself.
You also played a very charismatic, very beautiful person at the beginning of the film that Helen falls in love with.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Unjoo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
There were two sides to it.
yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Unjoo, as I was watching the film, I was remarking to myself how beautiful it looked. And then I get to the end and I realize that your cinematographer is the Oscar-winning Dion Beebe, who did Memoirs of a Geisha in Chicago. And then I realized that's your husband as well. Did you get a discount on his rate?
Oh my gosh, I wish Dion could hear that right now. Dion and I actually met at film school. So we have a really long working relationship. And a very long creative relationship, as well as being life partners. I think it was extraordinarily helpful in a movie like this that had very limited resources, a much smaller budget than most films, and we had to do a lot with that. We had to create Los Angeles and New York, Washington, Las Vegas, and we shot that all in Sydney and set it in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. So there were a lot of challenges. And one of the real advantages of, apart from the fact that Dion has an extraordinary eye and is able to bring so much skill and beauty to the work and storytelling, I think that what really helped us as a team was that we were able to be together 24/7, and we were able to really prep very, very carefully for each day of the shoot. We're on such a tight shooting schedule that we would spend most of our evenings watching dailies, going through everything for the next day, because we didn't have, when you're on a tight indie film like this, you don't have the luxury of changing your mind. Once you're on a path, you need to keep going, and you need to really feel confident that you're on the right path from the beginning. So when we came to the shooting day, we wanted to be able to be sure that we could maximize every decision that we were making and leave enough space and room for the actors. And particularly the way we all work together, you know, I wanted them to be able to have time to be able to rehearse to camera. And you know, that became a very important part of making this film, especially with the storytelling, and you know, what we call shaking up the scenes, you know, shaking up the dialogue. These guys did some incredible improvisation in the movie, all of you, which I think was really fun.
It was really fun.
Who would you say are you most nervous to see the movie?
Well, it was Helen.
How did that go?
That was terrifying. I wasn't at the screening, but I heard it went quite well. And last night, Jim, who runs her fan club, was in the audience.
Oh.
And he has been like such a big part of her life for a long time. And I was very nervous that he was there last night, but he really enjoyed it, and that was really lovely.
That's great.
So I think I got the really scary ones.